On my last motovlog, I asked for advice from you, the viewer, as to what I should do with my 39-day summer motorcycle adventure. I got a lot of feedback and I made a decision. I decided to go from Canmore, Alberta to Tuktoyaktuk in the Northwest Territories. This video talks about why that didn't happen. There was a mechanical failure on my motorcycle, followed by a smash and grab job on Elle's car. That set me back emotionally and financially. I'll get into all of that in this video. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the narrator of this video. It's my former self, a bespectacled Jeremy, sitting in an easy chair. Forgive him if he seems a little bit low energy and deflated. He's been through a lot. I'm 1 week into my trip, and here's a quick summary. Day one, I felt kind of like I was swimming in molasses. Elle,
Jeremy,
I don't know where I'm going tomorrow, and I don't know why.
that's a good beginning to a trip.
I did some bike preparation, so yes, I took 1 day out of my vacation just to do an oil change, to change a battery, that kind of thing. Day two, I used that day to pack, and I still felt like I was dragging through molasses. I don't know why, but I felt really very low in my motivation scale to get moving. Whether that was because I didn't have a hard destination or I didn't have a clear goal.
You were telling me about anxiety today, Jeremy.
Yeah, I've been wrestling with anxiety all day while packing my motorcycle and getting ready.
Anxiety about getting ready on time or doing all the things to get ready or what?
Yeah, it just feels like every time I pack for a big trip, I'm starting from scratch and I don't have any former knowledge of any other trip that I've ever done. I don't know why, but I was just dragging. Then back to Brian's house for night. So day three now, I'm packing up. Elle is at work, packing up finally, and getting ready to ride north. And I adjust my chain.
Hey, Jeremy. I'm all done teaching class for the day. You're still here in Calgary. I thought you might be gone by now.
Yeah, me too. But I got a little bit lazy and started doing some bike maintenance today.
And?
Well, I knew I needed to clean and adjust my chain, which I did.
Right.
And I tightened it,
Okay.
and then it's immediately really loose again.
That's really loose.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to be kind of sloppy, and I know it's on its center stand and everything. But then, I think this could be the problem. This front sprocket is super loosey-goosey, and I just noticed that now.
That's probably not supposed to be like that,
No,
huh?
you shouldn't be able to turn that nut with your fingers.
Oh.
That's a problem. So I'm not going anywhere tonight, and maybe tomorrow, and maybe the day after. I might just be hanging out in Canmore.
Maybe.
So you're moving in with Brian is what I hear you saying.
I'm making space for him in the garage.
And upon further investigation, find that my front sprocket is very problematic, and it just kind of let go catastrophically. Suddenly, when I took everything apart, I realized that the little washer that's designed to keep the front nut from working its way loose had failed, and so the front nut for the front sprocket had come loose. The chain was making contact with the engine casing. Anyway, I wasn't going anywhere that day, and it was a long weekend, so I couldn't buy parts that day, and I couldn't buy parts the next day, which was a Monday. So I took everything off of the bike. I decided to stay one more night in Calgary, put everything into Elle's car, so the next day.
Jeremy, who the owns Hoopheads?
Well, I think they got a pannier with my computer in it.
Are you kidding?
So we then canvassed the neighborhood, and we found, against all odds, we found this tent set up in the woods with some very stoned individuals inside, very high on something. There was a lot of needles lying around, various drug paraphernalia, and I approached them with Elle behind me, and I said kind of very diplomatically, "Hey everyone, I'm just looking around, hoping to buy some motorcycle luggage and some camping gear and some computer equipment if you have any for sale." And as I approached, they kind of moved into the tent. It was a very big tent, a tent large enough that I could stand up in it. But anyway, they kind of retreated into the tent, and as they did so, I saw my computer on the ground. So I snatched it, which they didn't even notice, and I handed it to Elle. And at that point, Elle was in favor of saying, great, we got the main important thing, let's get out of here. But as I poked my head inside the tent, I found more of my stuff, and it was basically all in there. So we got our stuff back, most of it anyway. Oh yeah, tent pegs. Awesome. Okay, if you just put that here. And eventually we got a nice pile of equipment. Elle set it up beside the bike path and we collected it all. So after we collected all of our stuff, most of it, I'm missing still 2 hard drives. Elle and I we threw everything into the car, again, with a smashed window, and we drove to Canmore for night. I still couldn't buy parts for my motorcycle because it was the long weekend. So this is day 5 now of my vacation. Tuesday, I was dragging my butt, like feeling very low and disheartened and deflated. I phoned around for motorcycle parts, then I put a battery into El Toro. So now I have to put the battery into El Toro, my 82 Honda. I've got to ride that into Calgary, pick up parts for the KLR 650, including chain and sprockets and tires, get that back to Brian's house, fix the KLR, if I can. And then we'll see if I'm going on my trip. Or will I just have to take El Toro? That's an option too. Here's the deal. I took a failing battery out of the KLR 650, but it was way better than the battery that El Toro did have. So I took the failing battery out of the KLR, put it into El Toro. You know, I wonder what it's like to have a motorcycle that you can just walk up to and press the ignition button and it works. I've hardly ever known that feeling. It must be very satisfying. That sounded good. I'm optimistic. Why am I optimistic? Some of you are probably saying it's flooded. Some of you are probably saying the plugs are fouled. Some of you are probably saying give it a little bit of throttle. Some of you are probably saying don't give it any throttle. Some of you are saying your choke might be damaged. Some of you are saying, have you balanced the carburetors? There are 4 carburetors. Some of you are saying, is there gas in the tank? Yes, there is gas in the tank. Some of you are probably saying the correct thing, and probably 3/4 of you are saying the incorrect thing. I'm not a mechanic, but I've got a lot of experience starting this bike, and I can never do it effortlessly. There it's gonna go. No cables this time. Finally got on my motorcycle, drove to Calgary again. This is Tuesday. Collected Brian. We went to the motorcycle store. We bought parts. We bought a chain and sprockets for a KLR. We bought a front and rear tire. And then after that, it was now 6 p.m. It was very hot, and neither Brian nor I felt like going to work on motorcycles. In the morning, he had to work, and I got to work on my motorcycle. All I really had to do was change the front and rear sprocket and the chain, and I did that, but I didn't have proper tools for everything, like a chain press and a chain brake, stuff like that, so I used a grinder to grind the chain off, and that's when I discovered the sprocket washer, that the inside teeth had failed, and I had to drive with El Toro to get a new washer for that. I had to do a lot of driving around to get this one little part, and this one little part, and this one little part. I'm going to quickly interrupt my bespectacled mopey self to speed up the summary a little bit.
Look, it was a tough day. I spent all day working on the motorcycle and running around the city with El Toro, running an errand here and there, getting a socket for the front sprocket, getting this piece and that piece, as I said. And by the end of it, I was out of steam, just absolutely out of steam. I measured the chain, I had it shortened to length, and when I brought it back and installed it, it was slightly too long. Thank goodness it wasn't too short. I've made that mistake in the past as well. Nope, this was slightly too long. I did install it, but it was at the end of its adjustment. That was the final straw. I was done, exhausted. At that time, Brian finished work, and he was tired from work, but he was enthusiastic to work on motorcycles. So he had a plan. Hey Jeremy, why don't you cut the chain back down a few lengths, 1 or 2 lengths only, and I'll do the tires, and then we'll get the bike together. Cooperation! But I couldn't do it. I was emotionally just at the end of my tether. It wasn't just because of the mechanical stuff, it was also dealing, I'm sure, with some psychological things that happened because of the break-in. At any rate, I stood up and I said, Brian, I've just got to get some air. I got to walk away from this. And I did. I wasn't gone for long, and in that time, Brian had cut the chain to the proper length and installed my tires. When I got back, all I had to do was reinstall the master link, and I had a functioning motorcycle. Brian Bailey is really good at helping out, and he's also really good at doing motorcycle tires. After that, there was nothing left to do but for me and Brian to go cheer ourselves up with a few pints, which we did. We had a good night. I stayed the night at Brian's garage, and then in the morning, I got my motorcycle started and I rode back to Canmore. Now that I've got you all caught up, I'm going to turn things back to mopey, bespectacled Jeremy. Hey listen, he's processing things in real time. He's a little bit down, and he's got some stuff to say about the break-in too. So bear with him. He's been through a lot.
It is now 1 week since my vacation began, and I'm still in Canmore. And now I've got to repack the motorcycle, back up my computer, and it's 1 week since this vacation has begun, and I don't feel rested, and I don't feel excited about hitting the road. It's not the adventure that I wanted, but maybe it's the adventure that I needed. Maybe I needed to see what life is like if you're desperate and living on the streets. Maybe there's a lesson there for me. Now that it's been a few days since my stuff was taken and stuff was smashed, and I still feel somewhat violated, I have never really felt anger, but I can now feel a seed of anger beginning to germinate in my heart. So I think it'll be a little bit challenging for me to not give that seed any water and sunlight and just let it die, because those people who smashed the window and took my stuff are addicts, and I don't know what the answer is, but we have let them down. Somebody has let them down. Somebody has victimized them. Somebody has harmed them. They're suffering from trauma, and they are living very desperate lives. And you could say, well, it's a choice. And you could say, get your together. And you could say all these kinds of things, but I don't know. I haven't been in their situation, so I can't really understand it. Not the most uplifting video today, but I'm just keeping you updated on where I'm at on this trip. It's not even a trip. It's just an exercise in kind of keeping my together, and also keeping perspective, right? I have a home. I shower indoors. I watch Netflix, and I play my guitar, and I have a motorcycle, and I have stuff that is appealing to people to smash and grab. Just letting you know where I'm at. I'm deflated, and I'm not inspired, and I don't even feel like making YouTube videos right now. I don't really feel like doing much. But I think I've rambled on long enough. All in all, I'm in decent spirits, and I hope to bring you some videos from the road. Some footage has been lost, though. No, c'est la vie.